thanks to the officials for the detailed briefing, and as others have said, I'm a strong supporter of MetroLink, for the link that it'll provide to Dublin Airport, for the way it'll strengthen social and economic links across North Dublin, for the way it's going to allow access and the opening up of land for new housing, for the better public transport links it's going to put in place, and of course for the decrease in carbon emissions that it will result in the long term. So I want to be as helpful as possible in this process. So I just have a couple of questions. This idea of a statutory delivery body, could the officials give me maybe a comparator in terms of is there anything similar in terms of structure and means of operation and duration of operation that they'd see this as comparable to that's in the public sector at the moment?
Thank you, Deputy. I mean, right now it is TII. Like, they are the delivery body responsible for developing MetroLink, and this will transfer it over, rather than being one of a number of functions that TII has. This will transfer the function into one single body. So there are certainly examples like that of delivery organisations. TII is one of them. The local authorities, authorities will be delivery agencies for cycle lanes, for example.
But in terms of maybe a truncated lifespan, this is reasonably novel what you're proposing here.
We haven't landed on that, Deputy. And as I mentioned earlier, there will be flexibility, and there is flexibility to allow this organisation to continue beyond the delivery of MetroLink in the 2030s. I suppose we haven't landed on it because it's in the 2030s, but we want to be flexible for the possibility that an extension to MetroLink may be contemplated, another metro linking in may be contemplated.
Thanks for that. Looking at heading 34 and 35 and this idea of a multi-annual funding framework, yes, which is, very much seen as a holy grail in the context of funding from the public exchequer. This Kiste Forbata Metro, is there anything similar in operation right now, in any other piece of legislation where this sort of multi-annual funding framework is created, again, as a kind of a comparison?
So I would use actually the electricity and gas sectors as examples of that. Now, they're funded typically from the customer rather than the exchequer, but they have multi-annual funding mechanisms. And even during the financial crash, investment could continue in electricity and gas, in part because they had a regulator and the money was from the exchequer, but also because they had multi-annual funding regime in place which gave a level of certainty. So we're looking to replicate that for MetroLink, because it's such a big project that any significant underspend or overspend would be problematic in terms of annual cash flow accounting and could cost the taxpayer more. So the electricity and gas sector is something that we look to in terms of having a stable, multi-annual financial framework which gives confidence to those who are delivering and allows for expenditure profiles to be managed efficiently.
Can I ask then, just heading 34.4, the Minister may by order delegate the management and control of the Kiste Forbata Metro and any other functions under this section related to such management and control to a specified person. Who is kind of envisaged there? Is that to the accounting officer in your department, so the SecGen? Is that to the head of the MetroLink agency? Who is kind of envisaged that the power over the fund, which kind of sits slightly separately to the agency, who gets that power?
We haven't decided, Deputy. We are discussing that with the Department of Finance and deeper. I mean, one model could be that it's a delegated sanction to the Department of Transport to manage that with the delivery agency. But I recognise accountability mechanisms are important. So we're working that through with DEEPR and the Department of Finance. We've yet to land on the detail, but we are very keen on the principle, like you mentioned. We think multi-annual funding is very important for a major project like this to enable it to be delivered efficiently. For example, if we get to October of one year and somebody in the delivery agency.
Yeah, no, I'm not questioning the need for the multi-annual anyway. It's just it is new, it is novel. It actually might be something. It's something I'd like to see in other areas as well. But I think it is just worth noting how new this is, and it's worth investigating and understanding who's in control of it. Just as a final point, you've spoken about the complexity of the current decision-making structures and approval structures if responsibility for the delivery of Metro remained with TII. And look, I accept that. But, you know, as a number of other deputies and senators have referenced, we've seen at this committee the consequences in recent weeks of issues with governance in public transport project delivery. So I think it's really important to get this right. And just in light of your call for a PLS waiver, you know, we had a very detailed PLS session on the airport cap bill, but we had no meaningful committee stage. And I don't think our committee should accept a kind of a principle that we get one or the other, either a PLS or a committee stage. You know, the design of the legislative process is now that both are part of it. So in terms of the request for a PLS waiver, look, I'm open to giving that, but I would like to see a written response from Minister O'Brien committing to a standalone and a decent amount of time for this committee to discuss the very detailed heads that we've gotten here at committee stage. I think that's the bare minimum that we can have. Committee stage was absolutely a joke on the airport cap bill, and Chair, just and there's maybe more for yourself, I'm certainly not happy to agree to a PLS waiver unless I have a commitment from Minister O'Brien that we will have a fair committee stage of this particular piece of legislation.
That's noted, and we'll certainly take that back to our colleagues. Thank you, Deputy.